Welcome to the Explainer. Let's just jump right in, shall we? Today, we're taking a highly focused journey into demystifying the core logic and purpose of SAP Cloud Integration, or as you probably still call it, CPI. Look, if you've ever felt completely overwhelmed by enterprise integration, or you're just starting your climb up that learning curve, consider this your Basecamp. We're going to strip away the heavy jargon and get straight to the foundational concepts that actually make these systems tick. To really grasp why CPI even exists, I want you to picture a large enterprise, not as a single, sleek machine, but as a chaotic, disconnected city. Imagine every building in this city was built at completely different times by entirely different architects. So one building is your SAP ERP running finance. Another is a bank's core system. Down the street, you've got an HR platform, a warehouse system, and a modern web shop. Each one speaks its own language, uses its own kind of door, and keeps its own hours. So what happens when a customer places a single order? Well, that order needs to reach the ERP for billing, the warehouse so someone can pick it, and the customer's inbox for confirmation. That is 3 totally different data languages: JSON from the web shop, an IDOC for SAP, and plain old CSV for the warehouse. And there's one strict rule. If the warehouse happens to be down, that order absolutely cannot just vanish. Here's the harsh reality. Nobody built these disparate buildings to talk to each other. Integration is the demanding, everyday work of making them communicate reliably anyway. In your world, think of each system as a host, sitting on its own network with zero route to the others. Integration is, well, it's layer 7 plumbing. We aren't just moving packets around here. We are translating the payload, guaranteeing delivery, and handling failures gracefully. It's essentially the smart application gateway between systems that were, quite literally, never meant to meet. Section 1. The disconnected city problem. Think about a legacy point-to-point setup. It usually looks like a tangled mess of spaghetti. This is exactly what happens when you just wire systems together one by one over the years. It creates high coupling, duplicated mappings, and just terrible runtime visibility. It's incredibly fragile. Now, contrast that tangled web with a modernized SAP Business Technology Platform, or BTP topology. Instead of chaos, you have this elegant API-led, event-driven hub sitting right in the center. Everything routes through a governed, fully observable integration layer. It's night and day. Moving right along to Section 2, CPI, the sorting hub. To keep our physical city metaphor going, if integration is a massive postal and logistics problem, then SAP Integration Suite is the overarching global logistics company. It's got lots of departments. But zooming in, cloud integration, the tool everyone still calls CPI, is the physical sorting hub running day and night. It's the literal warehouse floor where the actual heavy lifting gets done. Inside that sorting hub, you've got conveyor belts, which in SAP terms are called integration flows or iFlows. Imagine a parcel, which is your message, entering one end. As it rides along the belt, it passes specific stations. These modules might relabel the parcel, repackage it, translate its contents, split it into smaller boxes, or check it for errors. Finally, the action happens and it leaves the other end perfectly formatted for the right building. Now, if you've ever used automation tools like Make.com or Zapier, you already know the basic shape of this: a trigger, then modules, then an action. CPI is that exact same idea, just grown up, running on your own tenant and built for banks and governments. But what's really interesting is what's under the floorboards. CPI is the sophisticated cloud tenant with compliance and reliability baked right in, sure, but it's actually powered by an open source engine called Apache Camel. This isn't something SAP just improvised yesterday. Apache Camel is a rock-solid, decades-old library of proven integration moves. So you're standing on incredibly reliable, battle-tested machinery here. Section 3. The connectivity puzzle. There's a quote that really hits the nail on the head. The logic of integration is rarely the hard part. Connectivity is. This is the one thing beginners consistently underestimate. Safely connecting a modern, open cloud platform to tightly locked legacy corporate networks without exposing your entire company to the public internet is a genuine, massive challenge. Let's break down the 2 types of domains you're usually trying to connect. Cloud systems, well, they live out in the open city. They're easily reachable over the internet. Think of platforms like SuccessFactors, Salesforce, and your integration suite tenant itself. But on-premise systems? They live inside a walled compound, guarded by the corporate firewall. This is your bank's core system, or maybe an old ERP humming away in a secure data center in Riyadh. They simply do not talk to the outside world. So SAP's brilliant answer to this puzzle is the SAP Cloud Connector. Think of it as a highly trusted gatekeeper that you install physically inside that walled compound. Instead of opening up your firewall to incoming traffic from the internet, the Cloud Connector opens a secure reverse tunnel outward to your cloud tenant. It behaves a lot like a highly controlled VPN, allowing your sorting hub to safely reach specific, named on-premise resources without flinging the front gates wide open to the whole world. Section 4. Day 1 Integration Vocabulary. Let's rapidly run through the integration styles you're going to hear constantly. A to A, or application to application, is just two systems inside one organization talking. It's like colleagues emailing each other. B to B, business to business, is your company exchanging data with an outside partner. Think sending couriered, signed contracts using formal document standards. Data integration is moving data in massive bulk. That's the nightly truck full of pallets rather than a single letter. And finally, event-driven integration is when a system basically announces, hey, something happened over a site-wide PA system, and whoever cares can react to it. Then we have the way the sender actually waits for a response. Synchronous integration is exactly like a phone call. You ask a question, you stay on the line, and you get your answer immediately. It's great for things like checking a live price, but if the other end is slow or down, you're stuck holding the phone. Asynchronous integration, on the other hand, is like posting a letter. You drop the parcel in the mailbox and carry on with your day. If the receiver is temporarily down, the message just waits safely in a queue. It's the classic trade-off, the immediate but fragile phone call versus the resilient but complex mailbox drop. Okay, Section 5, Real-World Proof. You might be wondering, does moving away from a tangled mess actually work in practice? The data is honestly incredible. By moving to this modernized BTP model, interface complexity drops from a baseline of 100 down to 62. That is a massive reduction in technical debt. And look at the average latency. It's nearly cut in half, dropping from 420 milliseconds to 245 milliseconds. Crucially, the failed message rate plummets from nearly 4% to just 1.1%. That's all thanks to standardized exception handling and those resilient asynchronous queues we just talked about. But here is the real game changer. 54 minutes. That is the new mean time to recovery when something inevitably does go wrong, down from a painful 155 minutes in the legacy system. That's well over an hour and a half of downtime saved. Why? Because having a centralized hub gives you clear operational telemetry, real-time alerts, and undeniable interface ownership. You aren't hunting through a dozen different servers to find where a message died. The hub tells you exactly what happened and on which specific conveyor belt. Which leaves us with a final thought for you to take away today. I want you to look at your own enterprise architecture. Are your company's systems trapped in isolated, walled compounds, still trying to communicate through fragile, tangled point-to-point wires? Or are you ready to modernize, embrace the cloud connector, and start building your own high-speed sorting hub? Because understanding CPI isn't just about learning another piece of software. It's about fundamentally changing how your business's digital city operates. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I really hope this gives you a clear path up the mountain.